Hello, grade 5. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Okay, so today we are going to continue our lesson from yesterday. How is matter measured? And let me share with you my presentation. Okay, hope you did your homeworks and you studied well. Okay, so let's start. Yesterday we talked about three things to measure the matter, which is the length, the volume, and who can remind me? Ritaj. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you remind me? We talked about the matter, how can be measured by length. We talked about the length.
Length to measure
Measure what? We talked about the length, the mass, and what? And the volume, right? So today we will continue. Thank you, Ritar. We continue our lesson. Okay, let me share with you my objectives. By the end of the session, you will be able to define density, compare between heavy objects and light objects according to density, rationalize why objects float and other objects sink, differentiate between weight and mass, define temperature, and explain how it's measured. Okay, so yesterday, as we said, yesterday we talked about the length, the mass, and the volume. Today we're going to talk about the density and the weight. Okay, so here we go. As a warm-up, we're going to watch this video. Okay.
Did you realize that a large log of wood floated on water, but a comparatively smaller piece of rock sank? How is this even possible? This is possible because of density. It is the measure of the mass of an object per unit volume. In the first case, the log of wood floats on water because it has less density than water. This means that the amount of mass present in unit volume of wood is less than the amount of mass present in unit volume of water. However, in the second case, the piece of rock sinks because it has more density than water. This means that the amount of mass present in unit volume of rock is more than the amount of mass present in unit volume of water.
Okay, so here let's come back. Okay, so here in the video it was talking mainly about the density. Okay, so the density is the amount of mass in a certain volume. If we have an object having a volume just like this, we want to know the mass inside it. So the amount of mass in this certain volume, okay, it's called density. Okay, so density is the amount of mass in a certain volume of matter. Okay, different objects, okay, different objects have same volume, can have. If I have, for example, if I have a ball, a football, as I know you all like the football, okay, if I have a football, I'll put it in the balance, okay? We will get a certain mass, okay? And if I have a balloon of the same volume of the ball, will it be having the same mass of the ball? Let me ask him. Who is here? Who is here? Let's ask, for example, Muhammad. Muhammad. Muhammad?
What?
Okay. Hello, how are you? Are you doing well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I want to ask you, if I have a football, okay, and we put it on the balance, and the same volume of the football, we put a balloon. We put a balloon on the balance too of the same volume. Would it be having the same mass?
No.
No, of course no. That depends on what? On the density. Okay, you got it? You understand? Huh?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Muhammad. So that's why some objects can have same volume, but they have different masses. It's because of density, difference in density. Okay? So now, we have an equation to know the density of an object. To know the density of an object, we have to divide the mass over its volume. Okay? For example, if I have a cube, a wooden box. Okay? If I have a wooden box, and I know its volume is 10 centimeter cubic centimeter. Okay? I know its volume, and it weighs, or the mass of this box is 50. Okay, so in order to get the density of this box, we have to divide the mass, divide or over the volume. So it's going to be 50 over 10, and this will be the answer. Well, this will be the density. I got you this triangle here. It will make it easy for you to understand the density. If I don't have the density, so the answer will be mass over volume. Divide the mass over the volume, you'll get the density. Okay, that's it. So now let's go to the assessment. Question number 1. Let's ask Karim. Karim. Hello. Karim, do you hear me? Karim?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So, question number 1. What is the amount of mass in a certain volume of matter? This is the definition of what?
Definition of
Yes.
definition of density.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Karim. Can you solve the next one?
Yes.
Different objects can have same what, but different what?
Volume, but different.
Perfect.
But different, not.
But different what?
Don't have.
They have same volume, but different, but they can have, but they must have, if they have the same volume.
Yes.
Would they have the same mass?
No.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Mass, if the mass is different, it will lead to a different density. Okay?
Yes.
You got it?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Now, Muhammad Gaber. Question number 3. The density equals... Can you give me the equation or how to get it? What over what? We just said it.
Volume. Volume.
What over what? What divide by what? Huh?
Mass divided by volume.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. Mass divide by volume. Okay, now, thank you, Ya Muhammad. Now, let's go to another topic, okay, which is float and sink. Okay, if we put a cube of wood on the water, or a cork, for example, this is a cork and this is a wood, okay, and the other beaker we put iron. Why do you look at them? They all have same volume, okay? They all have same volume, same size, almost same size, so same volume. But why do you think that they are different? Here they're floating, and here this one is sinking down in the water. Why do you think? Let me ask someone here. Let me ask, for example, Saif. Saif.
Yes.
Yes, hello, Saif. How are you?
Hi.
Okay, perfect. So can you tell me, can you guess why this is cork, by the way. This is cork, okay? And this is made of wood, and this is made of iron. Why do you think these two are floating and this one is sinking down in the water?
Because the iron is heaviest.
Okay, thank you so much, because the iron is heaviest. Thank you. Or I can tell you in other words. You know how? Listen to the answer, Yasif. These two have less density than the water. So object that has low density float. Okay, heavy density or high density always go down, and low density goes up, right? You remember when we explained the same sea breeze and the land breeze, and we said that the hot air and the cold air, which one goes up and which one goes down? Okay, same concept. These two have low density, okay? Density of the cork and the wood is less than the density of water. So the water has high density and the wood and the cork has low density. That's why they float. On the other hand, look here, this is made of iron, okay? Iron has higher density than the water, so it goes down. That's why the iron sink and the cork and the wood float, okay? If an object has less density than the liquid, it floats, as we said. But if it has higher density than the liquid, it goes down, it sinks, okay? Such as the iron. Okay, so let's ask someone here. Let's ask Ritesh.
Yes.
Hey, Ritesh. Question number 1. If an object has less density than the liquid, what will happen to the object? Will it go up or go down?
Up.
Less density than the liquid. It goes up. Excellent. So what's meant by going up the water? Floating or sinking?
Floating.
Floating. It will float. Thank you so much, Ritesh. Thank you. So let's ask Ahmed. Ahmed Ibrahim. Ahmed, do you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. When you put question number 2, we're talking on question number 2. When you put a piece of iron in water, okay, a piece of iron, you put it in water. What will happen to this piece of iron? Will it go up, float, or go down, sink down?
No, it will sink down.
It will sink down. Thank you so much. Thank you, ya Ahmed. طيب, now we talked about the density. We talked about what is density. The density was what? Huh? The amount of mass in a certain volume, okay? And we said that high density always goes down and low density goes up, okay? Objects may have same volume, but they will have different density, okay? So we talked about the density, and we talked about floating and sinking of objects, okay? And we said that this depends on what? Is depending on the density of the object. If the density of the object, like we said here, like the wood and the cork, is lower than that of the liquid, the cork and wood have lower density than the water, okay, they float, okay? But if we have an object that have higher density, okay, than the liquid, so what will happen? It will go down, it will sink, because high density objects always go down, okay? So here we're going to talk about something else, which is measuring weight, okay? What's weight? Weight is completely different than the mass. You remember we said we illustrated and explained the mass yesterday? We said that the mass is the amount of matter in an object, okay? Amount of matter. The mass is the amount of matter in an object, okay? So the weight here, I'm telling you that the weight is completely different than the mass. Weight is what? Weight is the measure of the pull of gravity on an object. The amount of gravity taking this object down, pulling it down, okay? So you see, it's different definition, completely different things, okay? So let me tell you, the weight is the amount of gravity that pulls the object down. So if for example, if I take a balance and stand on it, what am I going to measure? If I get a balance and stand over it, what am I going to weigh or measure? So again, if I get a balance and stand over it, what am I measuring? My weight or my mass?
Mass.
Perfect, because we measure the mass in what? In a balance, like we said yesterday, right? You remember?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you so much, Yasmin. Thank you. So here, weight is a measure of the pull of gravity on an object. Let me tell you something. If we go up into the space, okay, go to the moon, for example, okay, you all know that there are no gravity in the space, right? Because the gravity is here on Earth, on this planet, okay? So if we go on the moon, do you think that we will have weight or the same weight that we have here on Earth? I'm telling you that there is no gravity in space on the moon. Do you think that there will be Muhammad Gaber? Let's take your opinion.
No.
No, why?
Because there is no gravity.
Perfect, thank you so much, ya Muhammad, because there is no gravity and weight is totally depending on what? On the gravity. Thank you so much. So now we can go to the instrument that is used to measure the weight of objects. It's called the spring scale, okay? And this is how it looks like. This is called a spring scale. So the object is hanged here in this part, or this part. And here, let's talk about the first one here. We put the object here, and then as the gravity pulls the object down, what will happen? This will move. You see, there are numbers here, okay? This will move down to the number, okay, or the amount of gravity pulling this part, or the spring in the spring scale, okay? So this is called a spring scale, and how it's working, okay? Same for this one, but this one is not going down. It's just the pointer which moves. The pointer, we also hang the object here, okay? And the pointer goes to the number at which it refers to the weight of the object, okay? Now, let me tell you that the weight is measured in newtons, okay? Weight in newtons. We use the kilograms and grams for mass. And we said, and we agreed on that the mass is a totally different thing than the weight, right? Okay, now, let's go to the assessment. Who I'm going to ask, who I'm going to see? Yes, Saif.
Yes.
Yes. Question number 1. What
Yes.
is the measure of the pull of gravity on an object? Definition of what?
Weight.
Weight. Thank you so much, because we said that the weight is the one which is depending on the what? The gravity, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Yasif. So the answer will be weight. Okay. Next question, Muhammad Gaber.
Spring scale. Spring scale.
Spring scale. Thank you so much, Muhammad. Spring scale. So we use the spring scale to measure the weight of an object, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Muhammad. So now let's go to the last question. Dave, do you know?
Yes.
What?
Newton.
Newtons. Thank you so much, Yasif. So weight is measured in newtons.
Newton.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So here we said, again, we were talking about the density, okay? And we said that the density is what? The density is what? Density is the amount of mass in a certain volume. And we talked about the floating and sinking of objects, okay? And also, we said that high density objects go to the bottom, go down, and low density objects go up, okay? It depends on the density. Floating and sinking depends on the what? On the density, okay? And also, we finished sinking and floating, and we finished the density, and we finished also the weight. Measuring the weight. We said that the weight is completely different than the mass. And the mass is what? The amount of matter in a certain object, right?
Yes.
Okay, and we said that it's completely different than what? It's completely different than the weight, right? And we said that the weight is what? It's the amount of gravity pulling the object down. And we measure the weight in what? In newtons, by a device or an instrument or a tool called a spring scale, as Muhammad Gaber said. Okay, so last part in our lesson for today is measuring temperature. I think many of you know how to measure the temperature of ourselves using the thermometer. If someone, for example, has fever or sick, you can only just use the thermometer and put it under the tongue and see what is the number it reaches, right? So what's meant by the temperature? The definition of the temperature. Temperature is how hot or cold something is. This is the temperature. If it has high temperature, this is a hot surface or hot object. Or if it has low temperature, this is a cold object. Okay, so the temperature is how hot or cold something is. Okay, a hot object has more energy and its particles move faster than the cold object. Okay, you know that the matter consists of particles. Okay, and each particle, you know that matter consists of particles, and each particle is arranged in a way that depends on the, okay, you know that the matter or a solid or a liquid or a gas, each of them is arranged in a way, contains particles, and they move in their place, right? They move in their place. Okay, the moving of these particles depends on what? Depends on the energy that it has. If it has a high temperature, it will be what? If it has a high temperature, it will move faster. If it has a low temperature, it will move what? It will move slower, okay? So we use thermometers to measure the temperature. Okay, this is the device, this is the tool that we use to measure the temperature. Okay, and the measuring unit of the temperature is either Celsius or Fahrenheit. Again, we said that the temperature is how hot or cold is something. Okay, and we also explained that each object consists of particles. Okay, these particles move according to the temperature. If it has high temperature, which is hot, okay, so the particles move faster than the temperature is low, which is cold. Okay, so a hot object has more energy and its particles move faster than a cold object. We also said that the thermometers are used to measure the temperature, and temperature is used to be measured in Celsius and Fahrenheit. Okay, so now let's go to the last assessment. Okay, let's ask, who knows the answer of the first question? Is how hot or cold something is? Saif, do you know the answer?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Can you tell me?
Temperature.
Temperature is how hot or cold something is. Perfect. Thank you so much. So next question, Ahmed Ibrahim. Do you know the answer? Question number 2. We use what to measure the temperature? What is the device? What is the tool? Huh? The one we put under our tongue to know the temperature.
Thermometer.
Yes, thermometer. It's called thermometer. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, ya Ahmed. Thank you so much. Now, question number 3, Ritaj. Okay, Ritaj.
Yes.
Temperature is measured in what or what? Huh? It's measured in Celsius and Fahrenheit. You remember?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So this is all for today. Okay, we talked about the density, floating, and sinking. Okay, we also talked about the weight, how to measure the weight. And finally, we talked about the temperature, how to measure the temperature. So now we finished lesson number 2. Your homework will be in your booklet, page 33, 34, and 35. Okay, and before you go, I just want you to watch this video.
Nope. Yep. 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 Nope. Yep.
So that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much and have a nice day. Bye.